Welcome to the Rising Leader Podcast. I'm your host, Mark J. Silverman. Resentment and harsh judgment can be pure gold. Now, I'm sure you've heard me say a million times that when I'm resentful, if I feel resentment, it means one of three things. It either means I haven't set a boundary, or I haven't asked for something that I want, or the third thing, which we don't talk a lot about, is that I'm jealous. So if you find yourself resentful, check the first thing. Did you set a boundary, or do you need to ask for something, or what do you need to do there? But the third thing, I'm jealous. If you find yourself trash talking someone in your head and you don't like them and you have just so many judgments about them that you're tearing them down, puffing yourself up when it comes to them, there's clues in there. So for me, when I'm resentful and I look at what could I be jealous of? So let's say someone's really, really fit, and I'm jealous because I don't have a six-pack abs. And then I have to look at that and I have to think about, well, what I'm really jealous of is that I can't curb my eating probably the way they do, or that I don't have the genetics, or that I don't spend the time in the gym to get those six-pack abs. So I can right-size my resentment and my jealousy, and really take responsibility for that. But here's where the gold can really come in. Let's say you're at work and you're resenting another team member. There's something about them. You trash talk them in your head. Maybe you trash talk them out loud. They don't work hard enough. They don't do all the things that go in your head. So I'll give you an example. I was working with an executive, and he was complaining that his team, when they gave him reports, they had errors in them. And when he had to report them back up to the CEO, he had to stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning to fix all these reports. And this other guy who was leading another team in the organization, his people would never give him reports that were incomplete or had mistakes. He would never allow that. That would never happen. Why does my team do that? So now we had to pick that apart a little bit, because he had been trash talking this other guy. We've come to the conclusion together, again, because I coach in a vacuum. So I don't really know what another person's like. I only know what they're reflected from my client. Or if I do a 360, I get to meet other people. But at this point, I don't know who this guy is. I just know what my client thinks of him. And my client thinks that he's a hard ass, that he drives his people too hard, that he actually is lazy, he called, and that he doesn't do the hard work, doesn't work as hard as my client does. And so we started looking at that. And I said, oh, so your folks don't give you complete reports or mistake-free reports. How often do you send them back for them to correct? And we had a little bit of silence, and he's like, I don't send them back. I stay up until the middle of the night and I fix them. It's just easier that way. What the truth is again, he's a great leader, brilliant man, and his folks follow him from startup to startup to startup, of course, because he's so cool. But he's also the nice guy leader, right? He doesn't hold his team accountable the way he should. Now, the way he should, if he wants them to be autonomous and leaders on their own and give him the kind of work that he's looking for. So we looked at, what can you learn from this other leader that you resent and have all these harsh judgments from? And he started to take it apart, and he said, he sends it back. He does not accept subpar work. He sends it back over and over again until it's done right. So his folks know not to give him something that isn't done, because they're only going to get it back anyway, and I don't do that. So he looked at the resentment and what could he learn from this person he doesn't like. Now, we don't want to swing the pendulum and become this other person. We don't, my leader wants to be the kind of leader he is, but we can expand our range, and we can use these people that we get angry at as gold. So like, for me, I get resentful. Let's say directionals. I don't like when people don't use directionals while we're driving. It just sends me off the deep end, and I have all these judgments about them. inconsiderate. They don't know how to drive. Doesn't anybody care? That's wrong. What's wrong with society? That nobody has a rear view mirror. They don't care about what they leave behind and all that stuff when I'm driving, right? Maybe you can't relate. Maybe I'm the only one when I'm driving. I have these thoughts. Uh, so I apply this to directionals. What am I upset about? What do I wish I had that these other people had? And I came up with, I wish I had the audacity to break the rules. I wish I had the audacity to have less of a rear view mirror because I'm hyper focused on holding the doors for people, using my directionals, recycling. I'm a good boy. I do everything by I'm just color within the lines when it comes to a lot of these things. And I'm jealous of people who color outside the lines. So do I want to be more like that and color a little bit outside the lines? Now, I'm never going to not use directionals because that's a federal offense on my part, in my mind. So, but you see what you're saying? Like, if we bring it back to us, what can we learn? So next time you're just trash talking someone in your head, and you just have nasty things to say, and we all do. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Our brains do that in order to protect us. So when you're trash talking someone else in your head, get a pen and paper out and ask yourself, what can I learn from this person? What am I jealous of that I would like more of in my life, or the way I show up? I think about people who are audacious. I think I have a couple friends and a couple people I follow online who just say what they think, unvarnished. They get lots of nasty comments and they don't seem to care. They polarize and they are willing to stick their necks out. And I'm jealous of that. Okay, Mark, what do you need to do? Oh, I need to be more authentic and I need to be more unvarnished in my own speaking. Instead of being mad at them, I try and take what I want and then leave the rest. Like, I don't like posts on social media that are purposely controversial, because that gets clicks and that gets engagement. I don't like that. There's enough strife in the world, but I can be more myself. I can be more unvarnished. Here's a funny little thing that happens when you start to do that. Your resentment of the other person dissipates. When you start to look at what you want in your own self and you start to live into that and you start to expand your range and who you could be, you're no longer bothered at that level by the other person. Because again, when you spot it, you got it. If you're trash talking someone, there's something inside you. If you see gold in someone, it's in you. So use that reflection to as a compass of where you want to be more, better, bigger, faster, more audacious, whatever it is that you want to be. Hope this is interesting and helpful. I love you a ton. Have a great rest of the day.